Have you ever wondered what thought might comfort you in your final moments? Not what achievement you earned, not how much money you collected, not how many people admired you, but what truth could bring genuine peace when you know your journey is coming to an end. In the final book of Meditations, Marcus Aurelius confronts the one reality every human being shares: everything ends. And strangely, instead of fear, he discovers peace. As I sit here reflecting on his words, I am reminded of an old monk I once met high in the mountains. He was already in the final season of his life. His hands trembled slightly when he poured tea, his steps were slow, and his eyesight was fading. Yet I had never met anyone so calm. One evening, as the sun disappeared behind the mountains, I asked him a question that many people avoid their entire lives. Are you afraid of dying?
He smiled, as if I had asked whether he was afraid of sunset. Then he said something I have never forgotten. Why should I fear what nature has been teaching me every day? He pointed toward the valley below. The flowers bloomed and faded. The rivers flowed and disappeared into the sea. Clouds formed and dissolved. Day became night. Nothing in nature resisted its own ending. Only humans tried to negotiate with reality. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. In Book 12, he reminds himself that death is not a mistake in the design of life. It is part of the design itself. We suffer not because life ends, but because we demand that it should not. Think about how often we fight against change. We resist aging. We resist uncertainty. We resist endings. We cling to people, possessions, identities, and moments as if our grip could stop time itself. Yet every struggle against the inevitable steals peace from the present moment. The monk once told me that holding on to life too tightly is like trying to trap water in your fist. The harder you squeeze, the faster it slips away.
But when you open your hand, you can finally appreciate the water for what it is. Life is much the same. Marcus invites us to live with an awareness of mortality, not because death is depressing, but because it clarifies what truly matters. Imagine waking up each morning understanding that your time is limited. Would you waste hours worrying about what strangers think of you? Would you spend so much energy holding grudges? Would you postpone your dreams indefinitely? Would you keep waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives? Probably not. The awareness of death has a strange gift. It strips away illusions. It reveals priorities. It reminds us that every conversation may be the last, every sunset is unique, and every ordinary day is actually extraordinary because it will never happen again. I remember another lesson from that monk. One day, a young traveller arrived at the monastery carrying many bags filled with possessions. He spent the entire evening worrying about losing them. The monk watched quietly before saying, "You own many things, but they seem to own you as well." The traveller laughed at first. Years later, I finally understood. The more we become attached to things that cannot last, the more fear enters our lives. Marcus teaches the opposite path. Love what you have. Appreciate what you have. Care deeply for the people around you.
But remember that everything is borrowed. Nothing was promised forever. And because it is temporary, it becomes precious. Book 12 is not really about death. It is about freedom. Freedom from fear. Freedom from resistance. Freedom from the illusion that permanence is possible. The peaceful person is not someone who avoids endings. The peaceful person is someone who accepts them. And perhaps that is the final wisdom Marcus Aurelius leaves us with. When your time comes, let it find you living honestly. Let it find you being kind. Let it find you fulfilling your responsibilities. Let it find you grateful for the journey, rather than angry that it cannot continue forever. Because a life well lived does not need to fear its conclusion, just as a beautiful day does not need to fear the arrival of night. So tonight, as you reflect on your own life, ask yourself one simple question. If everything eventually ends, what truly deserves my attention today? And perhaps, in that answer, you will discover the peace Marcus Aurelius spent his life seeking.